Hi everyone, today we are going to be discussing investing. So Dad, a common question that we had in regards to investing is whether or not we should be putting our savings into an investment portfolio or not.
All right, I think the first thing that's going to drive whether you actually invest your savings just in cash in the bank or something else that's a bit riskier is probably going to be the time frame. So if you have a pretty long-term time frame goal there, and by long-term I would say probably 5+ years, then I think you should consider investing into other riskier assets such as Australian shares, international shares, listed property trusts and things like that. The reason is you sort of need a full economic cycle for those things typically to come to fruition, and over the short term there's an absolute risk that that money could be worth less than what you put in. So if you've got a really short-term savings goal, I think you're much better off, even though returns are quite low in cash at the moment, sticking to just getting that extra money into some sort of savings account where you know it can't actually go backwards. Your trade-off there is you're not getting that much return on it, but you've got the stability and the security knowing that you'll at least have more than what you put in.
Great. And can you tell us a little bit about what is compound interest and how we can be making the most of it as young people?
Yeah, sure. So compound interest is really called by a lot of people one of the miracles of investing. And effectively what it is it's taking in the case of interest, it's taking the income return that you get from that interest and reinvesting it back in, and therefore compounding the return on what you've already earned. And in investing in things like shares, it's basically taking the dividends, or in managed funds, it's taking the trust distributions off those investments and putting them back into those investments and continuing to buy more of those. And again, you're getting interest, or you're getting a return on a return, which compounds over time and starts to grow exponentially. So it's even small amounts of extra money invested like that can really add up over the long term.
Another question we had was, other than a bank account, what are the type of investments that we could be making?
Yeah, so look, that's there's a lot of investments that you can be making outside of a bank account, and in some respects investors today have more choice than at any time in the past. So if you want to start making investments beyond cash, obviously direct shares is one way to do it, and you can open up brokerage accounts and buy direct shares. You can access traditional managed funds where you have an investment manager making decisions on which of those shares to buy and sell on your behalf. Those managed funds used to only be able to be bought directly with the fund manager, but now you can actually buy a lot of those on the stock exchange on things called listed managed funds. There's things called listed investment companies, which is an investment company that you buy on the stock exchange like an individual share, but instead of being just an individual share, again, it's a manager who owns a lot of shares on your behalf and makes those decisions on what to buy and sell. You've also got things called ETFs, exchange traded funds, and there's now a whole range of both passive ETFs, active ETFs, smart beta ETFs, so you can just access a benchmark very simply and easily with one trade, or you can access a particular style of investment management in one particular trade as well. There are property, real estate investment trusts, there are unlisted property trusts, so there's a really, really broad universe, and I know it's probably pretty confusing for people out there, but perhaps in starting off, one of the easiest ways to start to build up a bit of a portfolio is to buy a diversified exchange traded fund where, again, in one trade you can get access to Australian shares, international shares, property, fixed income, and maybe even a little bit of cash.